into your TNA IMPACT Wrestling review for February 27th, 2015. Flying solo this week, a little later than normal. Wasn't able to do it after the show because I was asleep. Dead tired, hadn't had any sleep, so I went to bed. All the boys are still out of it this morning, so I got up very early this morning, watched the show, and I'm going to do it solo this week rather than keep you waiting. Make sure to head over to BlitzSportsNetwork.com, get a subscription for coverage of the news and rumors of pro wrestling, TNA, WWE, VIP videos, cover NXT SmackDown, get full speed access, ad-free reviews, and basically for the cost of a magazine subscription, without all the reading. Pop the videos on. This week I've done just the VIP exclusive stuff, well over 7 hours of wrestling content already this week. So make sure to head over to BlitzSportsNetwork.com and get yourself a subscription today. We'd love to see more of you on there to join in with all the great, intelligent pro wrestling fans where they're waiting for you. So let's get into this review, man. One of the reasons why I got up early to watch Impact instead of just sleeping in and getting more sleep, which I could use, was because I love watching Impact every week. And as soon as I got a few hours sleep, I was good to go. So I'm pretty excited about watching this show. They're doing a lot of things that I like. I don't feel like my intelligence is being insulted. It's a manly show. You don't see no bitch shit on there. And it's good. So the show starts out with an Angle video package, Kurt Angle, talking about how he wants to be the champion again, but he's shown not winning the main event last week, and MVP wins, which sets up the main event for this show. So Angle ends up calling out Bobby Lashley, talks about Lashley not doing anything when the BDC ganged up on him. Lashley told Angle that, look, dude, it was your fight. Angle says he's all about a fair fight, and he wants to fight Lashley for the World Heavyweight Championship. He says the fans want to see it. Big pop, very energetic Manchester crowd. But he says since Lashley didn't do anything to help him, it's going to be you against MVP. Basically saying, no, I'm not going to help you. Lashley says it's his fight, and he won't need Angle's help. And Angle tells him unequivocally that with his match against MVP, he's going to do what Lashley did, which is absolutely nothing. He hopes that Lashley is still the champ, but good luck. So basically Kurt Angle saying, dude, you are on your own. So the BDC comes out, and Samoa Joe cuts a promo and tells Lashley that he should take Angle's advice. He said, good luck, but tonight luck won't be a factor. Crowd chants you sold out. You guys know I'm not crazy about those chants, but whatever. And Lashley piggybacks on the crowd and tells Joe that he sold out. Joe says, I sold out. He said, you sold out. Because the BDC is the reason that you are the champion. He says Lashley turned his back on them, and the MVP of the Beatdown Clan, and by any means available, will beat Lashley down until he's the champion of the world. He says there's nothing that Lashley or the fans can do about it. A decent promo from Joe. MVP makes the case that Lashley has an overinflated sense of self-worth. He says the Beatdown Clan stands there in Manchester united. Nice play on words. He tells Lashley that he stands alone, which means Lashley's ass will be laid out at the end of the night, and the title will go back to the BDC. So a lot of history there between these guys. That's why last week, even though I wanted to see Angle win that match, I'd like to see Angle be champion again. He's a legend. A lot of people underrate him. Even though I wanted to see all that, I said, okay, I'm fine with this because there's a lot of stuff that they can do to really play off of the history between MVP and Lashley, and that's why I figured it works, and it does. So, first match of the night would be EC3 and Tyrus against Mr. Anderson and Rockstar Spud. Now, I was pretty hard on Tyrus at first, softening my stance on him a bit. I've seen interviews with the guy, seems cool as shit, and this is dating back to his WWE days. I think he did one with Fink or Mean Gene Okerlund. I was like, that's a pretty cool dude, but he's starting to carry himself more like a beast and less like a fucking dancing dinosaur. But Tyrus came down to the ring with a hat on, that he basically had on to hide his shaved head. Anderson forces him to take it off, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex haircut is gone. Anything to get away from that Brodus Clay look. Like, I don't like the spine on the back of his wrestling gear. But anything to get away from that is a good thing. Like I said, big ass cool motherfucker. Gotta wash that Brodus Clay stench off of that beast. He needs to carry himself like a beast because he's a beast. He can be very demonstrative. He could be a nice piece of at least the mid card going forward. But it's imperative, in my opinion, that he shakes the Brodus Clay stigma. That he has to. He has to, and it's going to be very hard because every time people look at him, they're like, that's the dancing dinosaur. Somebody call my mom. But so Anderson starts the match, getting the upper hand on Tyrus. Anderson tags Spud in. Tyrus cuts him off with a nice power slam. Again, a beast move. Tyrus is, like I said, he's tapping into that side of him, and he has it there. This dude was Snoop Dogg's bodyguard. He ain't no punk, But Spud cuts EC3 off with a nice kick after EC3 got tagged in. Spud tags Anderson in. EC3 bails and tags Tyrus back in. So Anderson drops Tyrus with a clothesline, a back elbow, hits a neck breaker for a 2 count. Tyrus cuts Anderson off with the head thing, which, again, that's another move I wouldn't have him using, but I'll pretend it was a shoulder block. A headbutt to the yam bag as the referee wasn't looking. He pushes Spud off the apron, tags EC3 in. It's a body slam, and EC3 gets the 2 count. So Tyrus doing a lot of the heavy lifting for EC3 still, but it's starting to look a little better in the ring, a little more crisp. For a guy his size, you shouldn't question the impact, pardon the pun, of his moves. And at first when he came into TNA, I was like, come on, dude, really? He's been working a lot better. So EC3 works over Anderson in the corner, puts Anderson in a chinlock variation. EC3 and Tyrus continue to work over Anderson. Tyrus hits a nice heart punch, some pretty good contact on the punch. A body slam and goes up to the second row. Tyrus goes for a cross body and he failed because he didn't jump off far enough, and that will be a botchamania. And Anderson tags in Spud. Spud hits Tyrus with a series of forearms. Spud hits the Spike Dudley acid drop, but apparently he's calling it the underdog now. EC3 comes in the ring, distracts the referee. Anderson hits a low blow on Tyrus, the mic check, and Spud covers Tyrus for the 3 count. The match was okay. It was nothing great. It's obviously TNA's sports entertainment segment every week on the show, but I enjoyed it. Like I said a few times, Tyrus improving is helping it, but ultimately the storyline of EC3 and Tyrus, ganging up on Spud, and now he's got his buddy helping him. It keeps me interested in the match. It's all right. It's good. It's good mid-card stuff, and I'm fine with that. So footage of Lashley joining MVP and Kenny King is shown. Lashley, becoming the champion back in June last year is shown, where up until that point, I remember specifically, I thought it was kind of lackluster TV for them. It was hit or miss. And then after that, they just have been on this run of consistency with good television, except Bound for Glory, which I wasn't a fan of, but pretty good stuff, man. But TNA was doing a nice job of tapping into the backstory of Lashley and MVP, their history together, to build up this main event. Hey, man, that's why I was okay with this. There's a good story to be told, I'd rather see Bobby Roode or Kurt Angle in that main event, but they do title match. Okay, perfect. Yeah! You gotta have title matches in between an Aries, a Root, or an Angle getting a title shot, and I'm fine with that. I think MVP's doing his thing, and it's cool. So EC3's shown backstage freaking out, just fucking flipping his shit about Anderson and Spud ganging up on him. This dude's such a good heel. They want his hair. He's going to shave Rockstar Spud's hair tonight, that little bastard. I'm like, okay. The only thing I will say about this is you didn't see that fire from him in the ring area after they lost. I would have liked to see him like throwing a damn fit, and then it would have fit this a little bit more. Small gripe, good promo. So Taryn Terrell comes out to cut a promo, and she says being Knockouts champion is a dream come true, and she's been a very good champion. She says she respects everyone in the locker room. They all want the title, and that includes Awesome Kong. She says if Awesome Kong wants the title, come and get it right now. I'm like, you gonna lose the title this week? So Gail Kim comes out instead. And Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell have had great matches together. There's no denying that. With Taryn Terrell and her willingness to take big bumps, Gail Kim's technical ability, Taryn Terrell's improvements in the ring, those two work very, very good matches together. And I for one am looking forward to seeing another one. They're going to have to give them like a hardcore match, a tables match, something. Let them take it up another notch, because they can. But Gail tells Taryn that she respects her as a woman and as the TNA Knockouts champion. She says all the people respect her, but she doesn't know what she's getting herself into. She says Awesome Kong is the toughest woman in TNA, and she calls her the toughest woman in pro wrestling. She says you thought Havoc was tough. Look at what Awesome Kong has done to Havoc. Gail says Awesome Kong has taken years off her career. She says, are you sure you want to do this? And Taryn says she's a fighter. She wants this, and she needs to fight Kong. So Gail's like, okay. You're going to get what you asked for. So she leaves the ring. Taryn poses with the title. All of a sudden, the lights go out, and there's Awesome Kong in the ring when the lights go back on. So Kong completely no-sells some Taryn forearms and kind of smirks at her. Doesn't bump on a missile drop kick, just kind of goes back. Taryn runs in Awesome Kong and then just falls. Kong grabs Taryn and delivers an implant buster, laying Taryn out, grabs the title, and then Taz says it's almost as if Awesome Kong could take the title whenever she wants. And I know TNA fans, let me know what you think, but I know I'm not the only one that feels that's the way they're going. That at the end of the day, Taryn Terrell puts up a good fight, but Awesome Kong was just too much for her. And that's one of the problems with having a demonstrative beast like Awesome Kong. Now, right now, they're in the building her back up phase. And I understand if they put the title on her, then it creates a dynamic of these ladies chasing them and chasing her, and it builds up the anxiety of one of them being able to pull it off. And I think at the end of the day, they should have Taryn be the one to do it. As much as I like and respect Gail Kim. But, it's a good problem to have, because you can have that, you look at some of the guys that were fed to Hulk Hogan, King Kong Bundy, Andre the Giant, Earthquake, to a certain degree Earthquake, we never really get a definitive end to that, but building up the big monster and then having the fan favorite take them down works. And I'm pretty sure that's the direction they're going here. It's a classic way of doing this, and I would be happy with that. But right now, with Gail Kim, Taryn Terrell, and Awesome Kong at the top of the TNA Knockouts division, it's really good, man. That's the only rotation I need right now for the next few months, is those three ladies right there. That's it. I mean, they could even put the belt on Kong and have her squash some of the other ladies, and then work into Gail Kim the way I'd like to see it, which you're never going to get it always the way you want, but I'd like to see Gail Kim chase the title. Gail Kim can't beat her, so the younger Lion, and Terrell steps up to the plate and takes her down, and then you go into a series of matches again with Gail Kim and Terrell. Boom, next thing you know, it's fall of 2015. This is something that they can really milk throughout the year, and I think a lot of people could look back on 2015 as being a great year for the TNA Knockouts. So we see the Beatdown Clan backstage, and MVP talks about shocking the world when they formed. They controlled the title, whether people like it or not, and tonight the title goes back to the BDC. They spot the cameraman peeking around the corner, and low-key jumps up and slams the door in the camera's face so they can't film the end of their conversation. I like that. Feels good. Simple, but effective. So we see the footage of Lashley beating Rude in their third match with the help of the BDC and, of course, Eric Young. It also showed Lashley defecting from the BDC and them jumping him. And this is what I'm talking about with being fine with that decision for them to go with MVP and Lashley for this show, because a lot of history there to play on. So Austin Aries, we get a promo from him. He says he's going to be watching the main event, and then teases cashing in his briefcase to end the show. And I'm like, yeah. Aries, Angle, Rude. Those are the dudes for me, man. In TNA right now that I always want one of them in the TNA World Heavyweight Championship picture. They need to be there, because it just brings so much more value to the show. The trick is coming up with ways to story write them being in that picture. I don't mind Gunner being in that picture either. There's others that, to me, Gunner's a badass. So anyways, next we get Chris Melendez and Brooke Tessmacher against Robbie E and Angelina Love. So DJ Zima Ion comes out with some goofy mask on, and the whole bromance comes out, and the Brooke Tessmacher comes out on her own. And then when Chris Melendez music hits, I was kind of like, I'm a fan of the guy, but how does he fit into this scenario? Storyline wise, Brooke gonna end up with him? She did used to wear the USA ring gear. I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting pair to say the least. We'll have to see where they're going with that. So the match starts, and Melendez hits Robbie with a clothesline, hip toss, vertical suplex, gets a 1 count. And Robbie E is hilarious, man. Melendez tags Brooke in. Robbie starts acting scared of her. He acts like he's going to wrestle Tessmacher, but then runs over and tags in Angelina Love momentarily, but then he tags back in and sets up Tessmacher to get taken down with a hair pull by Angelina from the apron. Robbie misses an elbow drop on Tessmacher, but Angelina hits a clothesline on her, a fallaway slam, 2 count. Angelina whips Tessmacher into the corner. Tessmacher moves. She cuts Angelina off with forearms, clothesline, forearm, drop kick, hits a flapjack, where Robbie had tagged himself in. Sergeant Melendez knocks DJ Zima Ion off the apron. Tessmacher goes up to the top rope. Then Robbie E pushes her off. A lady. He pushes a lady off the top rope and pins Tessmacher for the win. It looks so ridiculous that Robbie E's doing laps around the ring like he just won the championship, or in the ring, and to celebrate the win, and then they take a selfie, or as they're calling it in Aussie. Tessmacher laid out on the canvas in between them. It is a funny segment. Robbie E is hilarious. And I also did watch The Amazing Race that those two competed in. There's 3 reality TV game shows that I enjoy. I enjoy The Amazing Race. I haven't watched many seasons of that. I've watched a few. What I do is I watch them on DVR. I also like Broken Skull Challenge with Stone Cold. Not as big of a fan with his, what's that, Hillbilly Island, or whatever they call it, Redneck Island. But yeah, fan of Amazing Race. Cool show. They were. Okay, perfect. They were funny on there. I still don't know how they made it to the final three. Survivor and Big Brother. So the fact that they were on Amazing Race, I really haven't watched many seasons, but I'm like, oh, there's a good excuse to watch that season. So I guess seeing them on there adds an extra element to watching this for me. But Robbie E's hilarious, man. Let him loose. All right. So before a commercial, we see EC3 walk into Rockstar Spud's locker room. He closes the door behind him and he turns on the hair clippers. That was a big lighter of doom moment for me. I'm just sitting there saying, oh my gosh, he's threatening him with hair clippers. Wow. But after the commercial, Anderson shows up to save Spud because EC3 is attacking him. Spud ends up cutting a little snippet of EC3's hair off, which I'm sure we're going to hear about next week. And Tyra shows up to save EC3. I love this backstage shit that TNA does. I love it. They actually take time, because apparently for you know what, it's too much effort. They actually take time to really film good backstage stuff. And stuff not even in the arena. You know, at a bar or whatever. And one episode they did in a funeral home, you know. So Angle is packing his bags and getting ready to leave. Gunner tells Angle that he can't stand by and let MVP cheat to win, to paraphrase. Gunner starts giving Angle a pep talk and talks about believing in Angle as a kid and says maybe he needs to motivate Angle like Angle motivated him. And he lays in this stiff slap to Angle. I'm talking about like right in the eye. He didn't get him in the cheek, he got him in the eye, and you could tell that Angle's like, potatoed him on that slap. But Angle gets up in his face, Gunner walks off. I like this little backstage segment because it added the extra intrigue to would Angle come out to help Lashley in the main event. I was assuming he would. We'll get to that more in a bit. So Austin Aries gets in the ring. The crowd's chanting Aries. He's like, I have a first name too. And then he always trolls the crowd and stuff like that. And the crowd starts chanting, Austin Aries. Austin Aries. Aries says there's a big title fight tonight. He talks about Kurt Angle or maybe the BDC are going to get involved. They're all jockeying for the power, but he says he has the power right here. He holds up his briefcase. He says backstage, they're all worried about top 5 rankings. Politicking for title shots, but he doesn't need to do that. He basically ends up teasing potentially cashing in the briefcase tonight, and sure enough, here comes Samoa Joe, and I'm like, they're going to have a match. Joe gets you sold out chance. He says there's no possibility that Aries will cash in that briefcase. Aries says, Joe, you should know with me, everything is possible. Joe says Aries calls himself the greatest man who's ever lived, but he'd really hate if Aries had to change his name to the greatest man who ever got his ass beat all over this arena. Joe's badass, man. He's that dude. Joe says at the snap of his fingers, he will have trained assassins. I'm thinking, like, right when I hear that, I'm thinking of the game Assassin's Creed or guys with swords. But he's talking about his boys. But he said at the snap of his fingers, he would have trained assassins in the ring taking out Aries. Aries asks, what happened to the Samoa Joe who feared no man? He said, yeah, you sold out, Joe. You became MVP's lapdog. He asks, when he's done taking guys out for MVP, do you have to go in the back and rub MVP's feet? Aries says that Joe, he knows, will get in that ring and tear it down with him for 30 minutes. And, basically painting the case that Joe is a more respectable character, obviously. Joe says Aries knows nothing about him, and the fans know nothing about loyalty, sounding like a brainwashed dude following a cult leader. Joe says instead of snapping his fingers, how about he gets in that ring and snaps Austin Aries' neck? Aries says, you want to get in the ring and fight me? And Joe says, that's exactly what I'm saying. And Aries says, he has a better idea. Maybe I'll just take it to you. So Aries hits his little suicide dive on Samoa Joe. You see a referee running down as they go to a commercial, and we get a match after the commercial break. So it starts with Aries hitting a slingshot senton, a sick elbow drop. I mean, just the movements of that guy in the ring. He's such a great athlete. And Aries works over Joe in the corner. The crowd starts chanting, Austin's gonna kill you. And I'm like, that's gotta be a real... I think I even caught a smirk from Joe, like, well, I am a heel now. But Aries whips Joe into the corner. It's a sick back elbow in the corner. A missile drop kick to a seated Joe to his back for a 2 count. Aries sets up Joe for the brain buster. Joe blocks it, reverses it by hanging Aries out to dry on the top rope. So Joe's turning the tables here. Joe hits Aries with the running 1-foot drop kick that sends Aries to the floor. Joe drives Aries into the ring steps. By the way, somewhere in here, Aries cut his back. He had a cut on his back. Whips him into the ring steps for a second time. Joe sends Aries back in the ring. Joe continues working him over, but now Aries starts mounting up a comeback with punches and a chop, but then Joe cuts him back off with a knee lift. They start trading forearms. Aries gets the best of the exchange, but Joe hits his famous spot with the atomic drop running boot and senton for a 2 count. And then Joe puts Aries in the bear hug. The bear hug. I hate that move. But Aries fights out of the move by repeatedly boxing Joe's ears, but Joe cuts him off with an eye rake. So every time Aries is mounting up to come back, Joe immediately cuts him off. Joe hits a front kick, runs at Aries, and then Aries pulls down the top rope, sending Joe to the floor. Aries goes to the top rope and hits a nice double axe handle off the top rope to Joe on the floor. It's one of the better ones he's hit in a while. I like the camera angle too. Aries sends Joe back in the ring. It's a missile drop kick that sends Joe into the corner. Hits Joe with a nice running drop kick in the corner to the chest. I remember one of their, I think it was 2010, they had a match where he hit one of the nastiest running drop kicks in the corner in his career. It was insane. Aries goes for the brain buster. Joe blocks it, puts on a full Nelson. Aries gets to the rope to break the hold. Joe lays in a chop. Headbutt goes for the muscle buster. Aries escapes, hits 2 nice discus forearms, and rolls Joe up for a 2 count. Aries puts Joe in the last chancery, but all of a sudden Kenny King shows up with the briefcase, and it distracts Aries. I'm thinking, he's going to lose like this. Joe puts on the coquina clutch, but Aries sends Joe into Kenny King, who's holding the briefcase, and Joe runs his head into it. And Aries hits a nice crucifix slam, goes to the top rope, and hits a almost perfect 450 splash off the top rope for the 3 count and the win. And that, my friends, is the versatility of Austin Aries. He can get a win with the last chancery, he can get a win with the 450 splash, or he can brainbuster your ass. So, good match between Joe and Aries, man. So after the match, Kenny King and Low-Ki get in the ring, and they start jumping Austin Aries. Joe puts him in the coquina clutch. Joe and Kenny set up a table in the ring. Low-Ki goes to the top rope and goes to drive Austin Aries through the table with the 2-foot diving stomp. But the table doesn't fully break. It starts to break. It doesn't fully break. And Joe quickly thinks on his feet and says, fuck this. And he runs and hits him with his senton to send Aries through the table completely. So so they took Aries out, basically signaling, "Oh, you won't be cashing in tonight." It made sense. It was good wrestling, great wrestlers, and that's a great combination, my friends. Period. So I enjoyed this. So we get a Lashley promo. He says MVP's, been running around telling people he made Lashley. He said to be the champion, you got to go through him, and nobody's been able to do that. The cameraman asks about Kurt Angle, and Lashley says, Kurt Angle, he did, Lashley basically says he didn't ask for his help and doesn't need his help. And I like this I walk alone character with Bobby Lashley. It works great. So next we see okay, perfect. See MVP manipulating Eric Young. He talks about EY sending Rude to the hospital. EY talks about how good it made him feel. He's doing this psycho shit now. MVP makes the case that Lashley was actually the one to put EY in the hospital. Gives him a pep talk, manipulating him as to why he should go after Lashley tonight, help MVP out in the main event. And EY talks about, I can do whatever I want. I can do anything I want. He walks away. It's fucking crazy ass, man. I like what they've done with this character as a heel. It's working, and EY's pulling it off to a high level. So, at that point, I expected EY to interfere in the main event. So low-key, Samoa Joe and Kenny King go up to MVP, and they show him the briefcase that they stole from Austin Aries, basically signaling he's not going to be able to cash in tonight. And MVP says now it's time to go take that title from Lashley. So I'm expecting to get the main event. All of a sudden, Noam Dar and Rampage Brown, two British boot camp wrestlers, are in the ring. And they start out wrestling, and I'm like, oh, okay. I think it was the Noam Dar guy. It looked like he had a little athleticism at the start of the match. But all of a sudden, Bram comes out. There was not going to be a match. So Bram basically kicks the shit out of both of them. It's an Impaler DDT on Rampage Brown. It's one on Noam Dar as well. Bram grabs a mic, and we get a promo. He starts calling out Magnus. He tells Magnus to get his ass out there right now because he wants to fight him. He says it again, get your ass out here right now. And sure enough, Grado comes out instead. So Grado comes out dancing, a little WWE-esque for sure. But he gets in Bram's face. He ducks a punch from Bram. Starts laying in a few punches on Bram, but Bram cuts him off and hits an Impaler DDT on Grado as well. And then once again, starts yelling for Magnus to come out and fight him. Magnus never shows up. Bram drops the mic on Grado and goes to the back. So, Bram to me is a psycho, throwback 90s type wrestler, and I really enjoy what Bram brings to the table. He does his thing, so. And then, you had him taking out the European up-and-comers in that match to get Bram even more over as a heel. So, good shit. Next week, the Wolves against the Revolution for the TNA Tag Team Championship. I believe we're also, let's see. I'm going to type this out now because I'm going to make sure to put this in the description. But we're also going to get Taryn Terrell versus Gail Kim for the TNA Knockouts Championship. I believe they said that. And then, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments section. And then next week, it's going to be Bobby Roode versus Kurt Angle versus, I want to say it was Eric Young. Let me look it up real quick for you guys.
was a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Charlie was out for his morning walk. Charlie had had enough. It was time to take action.
Alright, I should be able to find this. No? Yes. The Wolves versus Revolution for the TNA tag titles. Taryn Terrell against Gail Kim for the TNA Knockouts Championship. I'm not sure about it. I'm looking at their banner ad on their website right now. But it is Bobby Roode versus Kurt Angle versus Eric Young for #1 contendership for TNA Heavyweight Championship. Looking forward to that. So 3 championship matches next week, but you can't go wrong with that. Not going to complain about that. So the main event, Bobby Lashley against MVP for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. It was announced that it was going to be no DQ. You had all these guys bantering about interfering in the main event, which I didn't get my hopes up. You know, I like the clean, no interference main events personally. But they have had a lot of those, so they've got a little equity with me when it pertains to that. So it starts out as a pure one-on-one match. You've got the BDC outside the ring. So the match starts some good back and forth between the two. You can tell they've got some good chemistry together in the ring. Lashley hits does a vertical clothesline and delivers a nice delayed vertical suplex. Every time he does that, I'm sitting there wishing the announcers would bring up the British Bulldog. Or at least Davey Boy Smith. You know, you don't have to call him by his WWF British Bulldog thing, but call him Davey Boy Smith. Shades of Davey Boy Smith. Be nice that, because Davey Boy Smith's vertical suplex was nice. But MVP bails from the ring, pulls Lashley out of the ring, and we get our first piece of interference here with Low Ki hitting Lashley from behind. The referee bans Low Ki from the ringside area, but MVP drops Lashley to the floor off the distraction, and we get a commercial break with MVP taking over in the match right as they go to commercial. After the commercial, MVP sends Lashley into the ring and goes for 2 pin attempts, but Lashley kicks out of both. MVP continues to work Lashley over. It's the running kick on Lashley, gets a 2 count, and then now Lashley starts mounting up a comeback, but MVP drops Lashley with a clothesline for another 2 counts. So you've got MVP repeatedly going for pins here, and I liked that. It was good psychology with how bad he wins that title. Samoa Joe interferes at this point by choking Lashley on the second row, and MVP continues to work Lashley over after the referee distraction and outside interference there. Even though it was no DQ, it wouldn't matter. MVP sends Lashley.
En fait, j'ai essayé de vérifier mon modèle et de connaître les sentiments des gens qui n'avaient jamais conduit de voiture hybride avant cette expérience. Ah, non, moi j'adore. Franchement, j'adore. J'ai plus tellement envie de m'en séparer, en fait.
Yeah, it really makes me want to sing. Love it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to.
Lashley out of the ring. We get Kenny King along with Samoa Joe putting the boots to Lashley on the floor. MVP delivers a hangman on the barricade to Lashley and sends him back in the ring for a 2 count. Lashley fights out of a key lock, and we get the simultaneous double clothesline from those guys on each other. And the referee starts counting them both down, and I believe he got to 6. They get back to their feet, they trade punches, the crowd is firmly behind Lashley. Lashley gets the upper hand and drops MVP with the right hand. Lashley whips MVP into the ropes, hits a clothesline, back elbow, hits a shoulder in the corner, but MVP hits a back elbow, followed by Lashley catching him with a spine buster for a 2 count. Nice reversals, counters, they really work well together in that ring. Very good crisp wrestling. Lashley sets up the spear, but Kenny King blocks it by grabbing Lashley's leg. MVP hits the running boot on Lashley, an exploder suplex. They got it, hit an exploder on. But MVP goes for the blackout kick. Lashley ducks and ends up spearing MVP into the referee. So here's where it got crazy. So Eric Young comes down to the ring, and once he stopped fumbling the steel chair, he ended up laying in a steel chair shot to Lashley's back. He sets up the spike pile driver, so he's basically doing to Lashley what he did to Rude. He's setting up the spike pile driver, and Rude runs out. I mean, Rude hit that ring, man, started fucking up EY, clotheslines EY out of the ring, and they fight to the back. So now EY is eliminated from this fold. Lashley hits a neck breaker on MVP, but the referee was still down. He hits a clothesline in the corner, hits a running power slam on MVP, but we get a count from the referee, and and Kenny King pulls the referee out to stop the 3 count. Kenny takes out the referee. Joe hits his kick in the corner on Lashley, and all of a sudden Gunner runs down to take Joe out. Lashley hits a hangman on Kenny King, but MVP hits Lashley with the playmaker, aka the override, but the referee is still out. So they're making it look like MVP could have won here, but they fucked themselves by taking the ref out. Another referee runs down, and Lashley kicks out at 2. MVP grabs a steel chair, and it looks like he's going to use it on Lashley, and all of a sudden someone in jeans and a hoodie gets in the ring and connects with a one-legged running drop kick on MVP, and it's Drew Galloway. Okay, Lashley follows that up with a spear and gets the 3 count for the win. So Lashley retains. All right, I like Lashley as champion. No offense to MVP fans or MVP himself. I really respect him. But so we get to move on, and next week it'll be either Rude, Angle, or Eric Young finally, squaring back off in Bobby Roode's case, or Kurt Angle finally squaring up with Lashley in a title match. So I like the championship picture right now. You can't go wrong with that. One of the guys I forgot to mention earlier that I guess is kind of a given because he's the champion is Lashley. I like having him in that fold. I mean, the TNA World Heavyweight Championship title scene in 2015 has been insane. Actually, for a good portion of 2014 as well. But it would appear that, they got to move MVP away from this whole ordeal. So it would appear that they're setting up a Drew Galloway MVP thing. Maybe Drew Galloway compiles his own clan, his own gang, to go against the Beatdown clan. I don't know. But I'm really intrigued in that. I think MVP is a great opponent for Drew Galloway to break into TNA with here. And Drew Galloway's not going to have a problem washing that Drew McIntyre stench off of him like Brodus Clay. This dude was a part of 3MB. But people don't care because we've all known this whole time that dude was underutilized and he's really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him. My overall show rating, I'm going to go 7 out of 10. I really don't like main events loaded with run-ins and all the shenanigans with interference, but every once in a while you're going to get that, and I'm fine with that. And, with all that being said, it was another solid TNA Impact episode. I look forward to each week's episode. I got up very early in the morning to watch this one. And why do I look forward to each week's episode? It's simple. Great wrestlers, good wrestling, solid booking. It's a manly show that doesn't insult my intelligence. They do everything that I look for out of a wrestling show. It's that simple. I get a little bit of everything from the show. I truly enjoy watching it. Do I wish they were more popular? Of course. Because I like it. I would like to see more people like it, but at the same time, as long as they're on TV and putting on a great show, that's all I care about. So great job TNA, great job TNA wrestlers. Keep it up. This TNA this TNA fan right here is pretty happy with what you're doing. There's no doubt about it. It's some good shit. And I'm looking forward to seeing who else they bring in with this new fresh rotation of a TNA roster. And I like what they've done. They've done a very good job with their resources. And I'm proud to be a TNA fan. No matter who wants to give me a hard time for it or not. I'm proud to be a TNA fan. And you guys should be too. So with that being said, I'm going to get going. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you if you already have. Please like the video below if you enjoyed this video. See if we can get together a roundtable next week. Make sure to head over to lidsportsnetwork.com for the TNA news and rumors. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up there, and I'll talk to you all again soon. I'm out. TNA rules, period.